Let me tell you a secret that powerful people never explain out loud. Most people don't lose power because they're weak. They lose power because they talk too much. They explain, they justify, they overshare, they panic-fill silence, and every extra word becomes a crack. Now here's the uncomfortable truth. Silence doesn't make you look stupid. Talking too much does. Robert Greene didn't invent this idea. He just exposed it. Law 4 of the 48 Laws of Power says, always say less than necessary. Not because words are bad, but because words are dangerous, and once spoken, they never belong to you again. Think about the last time you talked yourself into trouble. You weren't lying, you weren't attacking, you were just talking, explaining your intentions, clarifying your position, trying to be understood, and somehow you lost respect. This law exists because power is psychological. People don't respect what they fully understand. They respect what they can't predict. Silence creates mystery. Mystery creates authority. Let me show you how this works. Imagine two people in a room. One talks constantly, fills every gap, explains every thought. The other speaks slowly, briefly, only when necessary. Who feels more powerful? Not the loud one, never the loud one. The quiet one controls the pace, controls attention, controls tension. Silence forces others to lean in. Words let them lean back. There's a reason ancient kings spoke less than their advisors, not because they were smarter, because every word from a position of power becomes law. Say too much and you expose doubt. Say too little and others project strength onto you. Now let me tell you a story. In the court of Louis XIV, the Sun King of France, nobles were obsessed with gaining favor. They talked, they flattered, they begged, and they failed. The king noticed something strange. The nobles who spoke the least were the ones everyone feared. Why? Because silence was interpreted as confidence. If you don't rush to explain yourself, people assume you don't need to. Powerful people let others do the talking because people reveal themselves when they speak. Silence is a weapon. Not loud, not dramatic, but deadly. Now here's where most people misunderstand this law. They think it means be quiet or be shy. No, this is not about being passive. This is about being precise. When you speak less, every word carries weight. When you speak too much, even truth sounds weak. Think about modern life. Podcasts, interviews, social media, messages. Everyone is explaining everything. Their trauma, their opinions, their plans, their insecurities. They think vulnerability equals power. Sometimes it does, but uncontrolled vulnerability equals exposure, and exposure kills leverage. Power doesn't come from being fully seen. It comes from being partially understood. That's why mystery is attractive. That's why silence feels intimidating. That's why confident people don't rush to speak. Now here's the emotional part. Most people talk too much because they're afraid. Afraid of being misunderstood, afraid of being disliked, afraid of silence. Silence feels like rejection, so they fill it. They over-explain, over-apologize, over-justify, and in doing so, they hand over power. Let me be blunt. The moment you start explaining yourself to people who didn't ask, you've already lost something. Powerful people don't rush to clear the air. They let others sit with uncertainty, because uncertainty makes people cautious, and cautious people don't attack. Now imagine a conversation. Someone challenges you. If you react emotionally, you reveal weakness. If you defend aggressively, you show insecurity. But if you pause, say one sentence and stop, the other person starts talking. They fill the silence. They expose their intentions. They lose control. You gain it. This law works everywhere, at work, in relationships, in leadership, in conflict. The quiet person often becomes the leader, not because they demanded it, but because everyone else gave it to them. There's a reason interrogators use silence. There's a reason therapists pause. There's a reason the most dangerous characters in movies speak the least. Words create noise. Silence creates pressure. Now here's the dark paradox. When you speak less, people assume you know more, even if you don't. That's the uncomfortable truth. Power is perception, and perception is shaped by restraint. But let me warn you, this law is not about manipulation for ego. If you use silence to dominate without purpose, people will feel it. This law works best when paired with self-control. Say what matters, remove what doesn't. Let your presence do the rest. Think of the people you intimidate. They don't rush, they don't ramble, they don't explain their value. They let you discover it. Now imagine applying this to your life. Next time you feel the urge to explain, pause. Next time you want to defend, pause. Next time silence feels uncomfortable, stay there, because discomfort is where power grows. The strongest people are not the most expressive. They are the most restrained. Robert Greene wrote Law 4 not to make you cold, but to make you aware. Words can betray you. Silence rarely does. And the final truth? You don't need to win every conversation. You just need to leave it with more control than you entered. If this made you uncomfortable, good. That means you recognized yourself somewhere in it. Like the video, subscribe. Not because I asked, but because power isn't taught in schools, and silence is one of its most dangerous lessons. Remember this: those who speak the most often control the least, and those who master silence never need to raise their voice.